We have been conditioned to accept the wreckage of our cities and the anxiety of our daily lives as the standard human experience. Humanity views this state of perpetual conflict as an unavoidable byproduct of our nature. When these patterns of suffering repeat with such precision across every century, the randomness starts to look like design. The chaos we inhabit appears less like an accident and more like an intentional mechanism. Rosicrucian monographies describe our material world as a metaphysical battleground. In this environment, every war and every interpersonal friction generates a specific frequency of negative emotion, a resource harvested by forces that exist just beyond the range of our senses. By treating this friction as normal, we provide the energy required to keep the system running. Our acceptance is the primary engine of our own containment. Esoteric tradition names this phenomenal world the Atrium of the Great Black Lodge. It is a specific vibratory space defined by the law of devoration, where life is forced to consume life to survive. 3 laws govern this space: duality, which ensures constant opposition; entropy, which drives the decay of all physical forms; and the triangle, the mechanism that links our thoughts to our material reality. A hidden government, existing in a state of spiritual dualism, manages these laws. Their influence relies on our continued ignorance of the invisible structures that dictate our behavior. Failing to identify the mechanical rules of the atrium ensures that an individual remains a reactive part of the machinery, trapped in a cycle of repetitive suffering. The engine of this trap is the law of the triangle. It follows a strict sequence: think, create, reap. This is the metaphysical law of karma in constant motion. The Black Lodge extracts energy through negative emotional geometries. For example, the feelings of envy and greed interact to create a merging point: hate. The second triangle forms when anger and resentment fuse together. The resulting output is fear, the specific frequency used to maintain social and spiritual disharmony. Finally, indifference and arrogance unite to produce tyranny. This completes the 9-pointed star of the Black Lodge, a symbolic floor upon which we are forced to duel. Engaging in these specific emotional combinations provides the fuel for the very system that restricts our spiritual evolution. To counter this, advanced entities known as avatars have appeared throughout history to introduce principles designed to disrupt the atrium's logic. Esoteric records describe Jesus as a sidereal being who projected his consciousness from the star Sirius. His presence on Earth was part of a cosmic effort to alter the planetary trajectory. His original mission focused on abolishing the law of retaliation, the eye for an eye system of the atrium. He sought to replace it with a methodology of inner transformation. This information was systematically suppressed. At the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD, political powers labeled these original teachings apocryphal, effectively removing the tools of liberation from the public record. The political hijacking of his message redirected humanity's attention away from internal mastery and toward a dogma that encourages spiritual resignation. In the 20th century, these suppressed principles resurfaced as the world entered a period of rapid mental transformation. Paramahansa Yogananda arrived in the West to reintroduce Kriya Yoga, a science of spiritual realization that had been obscured during earlier centuries of spiritual darkness. His teachings align with the recovered Gnostic Gospels. Both systems emphasize that the kingdom of God is a state of consciousness situated within the individual. Yogananda taught that the material world is Maya, an illusion. Overcoming it requires a rigorous empirical practice of mind mastery to detach the consciousness from sensory deception. The effective defense against the atrium's influence is the systematic withdrawal of the mind from these illusions, cutting off the emotional supply to the lodge. This internal change requires no external institutions or religious membership. The path to autonomy is traveled alone. This process is a form of internal alchemy. It involves the transmutation of the raw, negative emotional materials of daily life into spiritual clarity. We are infinite consciousness navigating a 3-dimensional plane. Recognizing this permanence changes our relationship with the material world and its cycles of loss. Understanding our infinite nature removes the power of the Great Black Lodge's primary tool, the fear of material destruction. To influence external reality, an individual must exercise constant and meticulous supervision over their own internal thoughts. refusing to engage in the triangles of hate and fear, effectively removes the individual from the atrium's reactive cycle. This disciplined state of mind is known as Novus Ordo Seclorum. It represents the shift from a mind dominated by external circumstances to a mind functioning as a tool for self-directed liberation. The phenomenal world only functions as a trap so long as we continue to provide the thoughts that build its walls.